When you get into the octagon, take away everybody in the stands or people watching on TV. And that's what Frankie does extremely well, you know, which I call the it factor, which is tough to teach. You can't teach that.
Yeah, I've been teaching jiu-jitsu for 15 years, and I think that if Frankie, you know, didn't train to become a UFC champion, and he was training only jiu-jitsu, I have no doubt in my mind that he would be a jiu-jitsu world champion. He's so coachable, he listens so well, he learns, he'll outwork and out-improve anyone.
Yeah, you know, Ricardo, I've been with him for almost 4 or 5 years now, and it was really the best thing to happen for my career. You know, I was after my Maynard fight, the first one, where I lost. Before that fight, leading up to it, I was training just with, you know, random guys, and I would call guys the night before, hey, where are you guys training, and this and that. And I'm like, and telling myself, this, you know, I'm a professional athlete. This is not how you prepare for fights, you know. And I always trained hard. I was always in shape, but you know, I missed like having a home team and, you know, good coaches around me. I had Mark around me, but you know, we were actually hooking up a lot less than we do now.
All right, you pretty much put Mark Henry on the map as a boxing instructor. How did you meet Mark, and why do you and he have that reputation and that relationship?
Frankie's been with me, you know, I've been with him since the first fight, but before Gray, we used to hook up like once a week. I never even watched MMA. And ever since the Gray loss, you know, we've been hooking up 3 to 4 times a week. And then I started learning more about MMA. That, you know, forced me and everybody around and Ricardo to learn more of, you know, being an all-around MMA coach.
You know, I've been around a lot of coaches in my athletic career, and the thing about Mark, I think, is the biggest thing is that he cares. You know, it's tough to get a coach that cares as much as he does. You know, I've been fortunate to have great coaches in my life, and Mark is definitely one of them.
You know, I think by far, Mark Henry is the best, like, overall coach and corner man in MMA right now.
Ricardo Almeida puts it all together for you. How does he do that?
Ricardo's just, he's a genius, you know. If you talk to the guy, you can tell he's very articulate with his words. He's a very smart guy. He's very calculated. And the fact that Ricardo has, you know, won national championships in jiu-jitsu, world championships, you know, competed on the UFC level, it's good because he's done it before, you know. It's different when you have a guy saying, do this, do this, do this, and they've never done it before. He understands it because, you know, he's been in these situations, you know, and I mean, he's got great coaching experience. He had great, you know, he comes from Renzo, who's another phenomenal coach.
So we see fighters step out there, and, you know, for the past 2-3 years, their game have been the same, whereas for Frankie, he's ever evolving.
And I remember watching his fight, and I was very impressed with his ability to shoot and to move around in the ring like nobody have ever seen before, you know? And I remember thinking, if this guy came train with us, he would be the champion. And, you know, a few months later, he was training with us, and he became the champion.
Renzo's been here a long time. He's had a very successful program, and part of that is because there's a good sense of camaraderie in the training room.
When you're around Renzo, Ricardo, and these guys, there's an aura around them, and definitely it feeds off to yourself. My last name could be Gracie, you know what I mean? The way they treat you. They're some of the selfless, most nicest people you ever meet.
Renzo's a great guy, you know. If it wasn't for him, none of us would be here. I came, my older brother came, Hollis. Renzo started bringing everybody.
I think fighting is the gold medal that is the real product that we have to show to the world, and Frank never disappoints on that aspect.
He's a great student, you know. He has what we call like a white belt mentality. He's always thirsty for knowledge.
I think the work ethic, you know, definitely comes from his family, you know, and his father. His father from day one had him in wrestling.
When Edgar's in our room, it's a totally different atmosphere. Guys are fired up, they're excited, they train at a different level, and that's because of, one, what he's been able to accomplish, but what he brings to our room, you know, grit, gutty, tough, an unbelievable work ethic. Really, he sums up what our whole program wants to be about, what we're trying to be about, and you know, he emulates what we're trying to do and who we're trying to be, and he's an unbelievable role model for us, for sure.
to a lot of up-and-coming guys. They really look to him like a superhero. You know, his work ethic, his attitude, his professionalism, it really gives a lot of the local scene stuff to aspire to. You know, he can't set a better example than he does.
How do I explain Frankie's toughness? There's no words. There's no words for Frankie's toughness.
And so when people ask him, well, why are you so tough? What makes you so tough? He doesn't know because he doesn't know any other way. He's just been that tough his entire life.
He's one of the toughest men I've ever seen in my life. You know, it's like, look at his fights. Every fight he does have, it's like a Rocky Balboa fight. It's like you're watching a movie, you know? You see the little guy getting his butt kicked. Next thing you see, he's coming back stronger than ever.
It's very nerve-wracking to, first of all, see someone that you spend so much time with going through that physical abuse. To me, it's worrying, you know? Like, is he gonna be okay, like, after the fight?
In fighting, you need to have that spark. You know, you can't be, like, passive, and you need to be like, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you 10 times. You hit me hard, I'm gonna hit you harder. I don't even think Frankie thinks about it. It just happens.
When you're in a fight and you get hurt and you're on wobbly legs and you don't know if you're going to recover, most people in that situation, even as tough as fighters are, most people will give up. Frankie, that's just not in him. It doesn't exist in his soul whatsoever to give up in those points in time.
Every time I see him in a fight, when he's had some rough first rounds, some rough second rounds, I think, you know, he just hates to lose, and that's what drives him to get better and keep going and not fail.
And so that's what I think makes everybody watch him fight and say to their kids, look at these characteristics. These are the things that make people, you know, inspired. These are things you need to watch this. I mean, parents want their kids to watch Frankie Edgar fight. There's not an awful lot of parents pulling their young kids to watch this sport. It's usually teenagers, adolescents, and older men and women. But in Frankie's case, people want their kids to be more like him.
There's many different theories as to what is the optimal program for strength and conditioning.
You almost have to throw some of the science out the window and some of the traditional textbook stuff out the window, and you got to be creative.
As the sport is getting grown more and more, people aren't only training harder, they're training smarter. Just knowing that the guy I'm fighting across the country is probably doing the same stuff I am, it makes me want to do it a little bit harder.